Okay, good morning. Welcome to Sand Country Legends. We're here with Bruce Swearingen. Bruce is the owner, operator, CEO, president, whatever you want to call him, of 4S, Advanced Wildlife Solutions in Reynolds, Georgia. We're here at the worldwide headquarters. So, Bruce, thank you for doing this. I guess, before we start, we need to really start into our podcast we thinking about the people in southeast Georgia. About a week ago, or less than a week ago, Hurricane Helene was about to come straight up US 19 right over Taylor County, Butler and Reynolds. And, about midnight it turned. And when it turned with a vengeance. And, we've got towns like, Valdosta, Tifton, Douglas, Waycross, Alma, Hazelhurst, people without power. And just real quick, while we're talking about that, we'll get more into you, Bruce, in just a minute. But I did not realize, we talk about people that are without power, without a way to get food, but wildlife also is devastated by this. I saw one video where a horse was just as close to his barn as he could get, and water was almost up to his neck. But I did see one of your videos where deer were eating your product out of feeders where they would not get feed anywhere else, and that's pretty neat. And there's no telling the long-term effects of what this storm has done to our wildlife, and it affects everything. But
you can see problems a year or two later that it's hard to connect back to something that happened, where this a drought event or
that's right,
rain or whatever.
Right. So with that, that's just on our hearts and minds. And I've been thinking, since this happened, we don't understand why God spared us and did not spare Southeast Georgia. But you really can't look at it that way. It's just all a part of God's sovereignty and what He wants to do, and we have to respect that. But God gives us the ability to recover and help people. And it demonstrates, I think, the good things about us living in the state of Georgia, that we're going to help each other. And that's just been going on, and it will continue to go on as this plays out. But we're just thinking about the people in southeast Georgia, and just hope that everything works out to get power back and get their lives going back. So, Bruce, let's talk about your early life, and your family. Just take it from there and tell us a little bit about Bruce in your early life.
Okay. Yeah, been in Taylor County, Reynolds, Georgia, all my life. Lived on the farm and worked on the farm my whole life. I mean, if you consider where I grew up, I mean, it connects to some farmland we had. We had
yes
cows on at different times and row crop ground and things like that. And then, when I married Shannon, we had a house right across the road from Mom and Daddy's house where I grew up, which wasn't on the farm. But other than that, we've always had businesses there and things like that. So grew up with livestock, and Daddy and Granddaddy had lots of registered Port Hereford cows when I was real little. And I did stuff with that, but they got out of that probably, I don't know when, but I was probably pretty young and wasn't really deeply embedded with that. But then as I got older, me and Daddy had cows together and stuff like that. Then when I was a teenager, when I first got to be 16 and could drive, I had a cow trailer then, and I was hauling livestock all over the state, picking up different things. And people always kind of laughed. I'm liable to show up with a trailer with goats, hogs, cows, horses, donkeys, all in the same trailer. When I was about 18 years old, I had right at 400 goats that I traded within about a year. Did that for a long time, and just always dealt with animals, and always loved being outside.
And you mentioned Shannon, your wife. And you have two girls, twins, Carly and Riley.
Yep.
And I guess, Bruce, when Tanya and I really got to know you and Shannon was when our girls, I guess, were in first grade on, actually in the Reynolds preschool here across the street at the Methodist Church, and they began to compete in high school sports, and we just became best of friends, and we'll always cherish that. And Shannon, she is your partner in this business. I mean, she plays a huge part in this business. I know Carly works here. Riley works here. I'm sorry. Riley works here. And she is also a big part of this business. So it really is just a family operation.
Yeah, I mean the four S's. The S's are for Swearingen.
Right.
That's what the S is. Right. I mean that's the four of us. It's always been a family effort. I mean Carly's not here right now. She moved to St. Simon's
That's right.
for a little while, and she's probably gonna come back at some point.
That's right.
But yeah, it's been a neat thing. We've been going for, I think this is 16 years, and we've been nothing but blessed the whole way. I mean, it's been incredible. I mean, things just keep on clicking just right for us.
That's right. So your parents, tell me about your parents.
Robert and Angie Swearingen, they've been right there. The house we grew up in for.
That's right.
As long as I can remember, for sure.
And Bruce, you have a special thing about your family. You had a grandmother that lived to 104. Is that right?
106, I think.
106.
You could be right, but I think it was 106, and she didn't. I don't think she got old till she was past 100, where she was starting to, show signs of age.
And I think she might have drove at 100, didn't she? Maybe.
There was some. It was way out there. Yeah, she really did. I mean, she was neat. She never drank anything but water and wouldn't go outside if it was raining. It didn't matter what was supposed to be going on. If it was dripping rain, she wasn't going outside.
Well, I think she spent most of her working career working for Leonard Watley at the drugstore, is that right? I mean, and maybe some other things in her early life, but
oh yeah, definitely. Long as I knew growing up, though, she was right there at Mr. Leonard's.
That's right.
Drugstore.
And so that's pretty neat stuff. Robert Swearingen, I had the privilege to know and work with, and he made a great investment in my life. I worked at the phone company. He worked at the phone company. He was corporate attorney, and Robert had also served as mayor, practiced, private practice, and he retired from public service. And, I kind of sat in his chair. I'm certainly not an attorney, but he taught me his job, regulatory management. And there's a lot of that in the phone company. And I'll just always be so appreciative of him doing that. And Bruce, I guess that leads me to, I believe that if you make an investment in somebody's life, you get a return on that investment, right? It's just like investing in the stock market. I believe there's a spiritual return. When you make an investment in somebody, you get a return. And can we just, if you can think about some people, maybe other than your parents, who made that investment in your life that got you where you are today?
Yeah, sure. Bob Cochran would be one. He, I don't know the exact details because I just don't remember it all, but I know when Daddy first started printing a lot of cattle sales catalogs, Bob did a bunch of those, and he hunted at the farm, the family farm, Daddy's farm, and deer hunted, probably other things, I don't know, but definitely deer hunted, and he grabbed me at a young age, and me and him hunted together a lot. He taught me a lot about deer hunting, stuff like that. Daddy wasn't much of a deer hunter.
Right.
He was all about the livestock and, done a little bit of bird hunting, stuff like that. But yeah, Bob Cochran, he took a lot of time over me.
You don't ever forget that, do you?
No.
And it's the little things that somebody does in your life and for you that help you understand that they are interested in your life, interested in what you're doing. That hunting trip, riding country roads, all those little things that you make in memories. And that's just important. And I think that's, such a great privilege that we have living in the South, living in Georgia, living in Taylor County. I wouldn't want to live anywhere else.
Me either. I couldn't imagine it.
And I couldn't imagine living anywhere else. And I'm very proud of our county, and I want to make those investments. I know you want to make those investments, and you certainly have, and have been given the unique opportunity to make investment in hundreds of thousands of people.
Yeah.
Wow. Right here from Reynolds, Georgia.
It's been neat.
And right here from Bruce. It has been neat. So you mentioned, the cow business. I know Robert and your grandfather, Bob Swearingen, when the Pole Hereford business, purebred Pole Hereford business. And that was Robert was, I know, was known far and wide for that business. Actually, it helped him in his career because he would go to the Public Service Commission, and it was our job to go up to the Public Service Commission to talk about Public Service Telephone Company and regulatory things that we had. And Bobby Pafford was on the Public Service Commission forever and ever, and he was in the pole Hereford business, and he knew Robert, and that kind of gave Robert an edge when we needed something. And yeah, it was always great. So, that was closed. I know you really don't remember that. Your grandfather was also a Chevrolet dealer. He owned the Chevrolet dealership in Reynolds, and that still survives today somewhat with Jimmy Childry, right? Yeah, that still survives, and that would be your first cousin. That would be Robert's sister's son.
Right.
And so the family business just keeps going on and on.
I still deal with people now with deer products that knew daddy or granddaddy that from the cattle business that are now buying products from us, deer products.
Sure.
Some of the same farms and stuff.
So that goes back to that investment.
Mm-hmm.
So you make investment in people. If you're an honest, upright, good businessman, honest businessman, you never take advantage of anybody, that's a return because they don't forget it.
Right.
And when they were coming along, you did business with a handshake, and that's pretty much gone today. I mean, we don't, a handshake means nothing to this lost and dying world that we live in today, but it did when we were growing up.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy to still have that mindset. We still have it with this company, which I think that's got us a long ways. But I know out when we had that office and warehouse at the farm, there was a door code on the door and a money box on the wall with a slot cut in it that people would come in and get stuff and put checks or cash in the box, and we wouldn't even know what they got or who it was sometimes, and people would laugh and say, man, y'all are crazy, for doing that. And I'm like, hey, if somebody will steal deer feed, they can have it.
That's right.
But it really, people like it. I mean, and we just try to live on that system,
So growing up, I know you helped in the farm and cattle business, and you did some of that. What'd you do after that? I mean, it's just kind of, what'd you do? I mean, after high school, what'd you do after that?
Still dealing with the livestock and things like that, and was hauling cows or any kind of livestock for contract and things like that, and
selling, buying,
selling, and then hauling for people that needed animals hauled, and working on people's farms, helping them with stuff that they were trying to get done or couldn't get done. And then after me and Daddy kind of slowed down with the cows, cows that we had, like Texas Longhorn cows and stuff like that, I was doing wheat straw for the erosion control market in Atlanta. And I had 44 semi-trailers running at one time.
My goodness.
Yeah, we were doing about 500,000 square bales a year. And then just kind of, I got tired of that. I felt like I'd pushed it as far as I could push it or cared to push it. So I started losing interest, and if I'm losing interest in it, I knew I needed to walk pretty quick. So I got rid of that and started Advanced Wildlife Solutions.
And Bruce, I would attribute that to wisdom.
Yeah, I mean, it was good. It was doing really good, and it had room for growth, but I wasn't the guy for it. I cared nothing about what was about to have to happen, and I was going to spend time in Atlanta and surrounding areas in Atlanta trying to drum up business, and I had to cross the line. But
that's right.
I don't want to spend any time there.
That's right. And Bruce, I've always known you, and I think this is part of your success is, you're driven, you're focused, you're determined, and your work ethic is just something we don't see anymore. I mean, you're here, you're constantly working on new product, talking to people, and everybody wants to talk to Bruce.
The guys in the warehouse just came in and saying that a minute ago. Guys coming in, that happens a lot, yeah.
And I'm sure they walk into the warehouse or to the shop and look around and don't recognize anybody, but they recognize you.
Yeah.
And they say, where's Bruce? And I don't know how you divide your time up, but I'm sure. So probably time to talk about this. So what year did you have in your mind set that you wanted to do this? I guess you probably really didn't know what it was going to look like, but you know what it looks like now.
Yeah.
And you might not know what it's going to look like in 5 years, 10 years.
Based on the way the train's been going, the track just keeps getting easier to go down, so you really don't know, but we started in 2008.
Okay.
2008, hoping to gather 5 or 6 stores that would sell, the one product we had at the time, which was the first product, deer mineral, antleradic deer mineral. But now we've probably got 1,000 dealers in 35 states that we ship into, not to mention our direct sale business that we do out of the warehouse.
Right. And that is what percentage of your business is direct sales right out of here? People stopping by?
Probably the 1,000 or so dealers we have on the streets, like retail stores probably only I'd have to look, but it's probably only 30% of our business.
I got you.
40 maybe. The
Yep.
rest of it's, guys we ship to with our trucks.
Right.
Here going straight to farms or guys that come in here.
Right.
We do a lot of walk-in business here at the store, at the shop.
So you mentioned your first product, Bruce. I mean, how many products do you have on the market today?
Man, I'd have to think it's probably 25 maybe.
Right.
With everything, and I've got a ton of products rolling around in my head now. We just got to make sure we have time to do it. We don't want anything to suffer.
So Bruce, rolling around your head, where does that come from?
Dangerous place right there. I just seen a need for it. Like every product that I've done so far was really not created to generate a sale. I mean, we're trying to make a living, trying to support people that work here and their families and things like that, but it was really made to fix a problem, like the Advanced Wildlife Solutions, our main name, Forest Wildlife, but Advanced Wildlife Solutions.
That's right.
Solutions, trying to find solutions to problems and fixing them. And when I started in 2008, there wasn't a lot of deer products out there. And what I was seeing, I did not like at all. It was sometimes the package would cost more than the contents inside. And it was really just made to generate a sale, not success. And I set out to fix that. And so everything we do is made to produce results. And
so you noticed that right away, right?
Yeah.
With the existing product out there. So you saw a market, you saw a niche in the market. Mm-hmm. So I know that hunters buy your product because they want to feed wildlife to have that successful hunt. But it's not all about that. I think, and what I've observed, it's also about the integrity of, I guess, the DNA in the deer or the turkey that makes them better and improves the herd and improves what they look like. Proper diet is good for everybody, including wildlife.
Oh, yeah. I mean, and the fun in it, too. I mean, being good stewards of the land. I mean, there's a lot of guys that start out as deer hunters, and they start with us and get education from us on things you can do to improve the wildlife on your land. And a lot of guys end up being deer growers instead of deer hunters. We've got several guys like that they'd rather grow them than actually hunt, which is really neat to see.
Because there's a reward in that, right?
Yeah, big time.
Yeah. So you invest also in wildlife.
In your area.
Yeah, that's right. And so it's not just all about the hunt. It's also about, like we said, improving the herd, or whatever you want to call it, of the deer. And deer just look better to me. I think that maybe about 1970, the DNR brought the deer here. They were not, I don't believe they may have been 200 or 300 years ago, but I don't know what happened to them, but I know the DNR brought some back.
Yeah.
And I heard has grown to what it is now from then.
Yeah. I've got an article I can send you sometimes. I actually have the documentation of where the deer were released and where they came from and where, county by county.
Okay, that's neat.
But from what I understand, I mean, don't hold me to this just because I read it. I know that doesn't mean it's true, but there were 4 groups of settlers that were coming in to the East Coast, and they were hitting Georgia, and they started trading with the Indians for anything they had. Some of that was deer. Then the Indians started getting guns, still trading with the settlers coming in. So the Indians started shooting the deer with guns, and they killed all the deer.
I got you.
In Georgia.
That makes sense.
So that's why we had to be repopulated. But the settlers wasn't going around Florida and coming into the bay.
Right.
So that's why Alabama still has the original Southeast America rut. Their rut is in January, which is what we're supposed to have. Our rut is in November because our deer were populated from a different area.
All right. Well, that makes sense for the first time for me, because I did not understand why just one state over, the hunt was totally different.
That's why, from what I understand, that's why.
Well, that makes sense. It really makes sense.
Yeah, because our rut is supposed to be in January, when the deer, their breeding season, for people that don't know what rut is, but their breeding season, ours is actually a northern or a different area.
Right. So, Bruce, you've been very successful with your products. Do you have a patent, or do you have a copyright, or how does all that work?
Yeah, you protect everything as much as you can. I mean, there's some things that you can and can't do with certain stuff, but we really hadn't had to worry about too much of that kind of stuff, because it's just, our growth is so big and our buying power is so strong that we're able to get as good a product as you can get, and everything we do for cheaper than having to worry about protecting anything like that, really.
Well, that's good. I mean, that's the best protection you can have.
Yeah, and just not putting greed in it.
Right.
I mean, I'm not against anybody making a living. We're trying to make a living, but sometimes we see stuff out there that is just overpriced junk, and sometimes it's hard to find a way to exist in a world where you're not doing that. But that's what we're doing.
Right.
And it's working.
Any copycats?
Oh, yeah, a lot of them. We've got a lot of past customers that are now making deer products.
I don't think successful.
I mean,
I know you don't want to.
Yeah, I mean,
you
I don't
want
know
to say too much.
Yeah,
but
I mean, I don't know all the numbers exactly, but I know enough to see that we grow every year more than some of our competition actually sells in the whole year.
I got you.
And we're still, I don't know, I wouldn't go as far as to say I'm glad we have competition, but I could say that if we didn't have somebody getting some piece of the market share, that I don't know if we could handle all the growth we have, because we grow so much every year anyway with competition.
Competition's not a bad thing.
No, I don't.
I mean,
Not at all.
it's not a bad thing at all, but you want a fair playing field.
Yeah.
And that's I think that's the competition you want. You don't want to be anybody to be unfair or, just greed. I think greed will ruin your life in business quicker than anything
Absolutely.
else. So distribution, I mean, you certainly do not have the ability to make product here in Reynolds, but
Right.
you have, I guess, people that put all that together for you, and they take your formulas and they do what you say to do, and it gets shipped in here or get shipped direct to dealers, or
Yeah.
how does that work?
I mean, we do some packaging here for 6 products, I think, and some light packaging here. But at the beginning, I really had to make a decision on what route to go with that. And we had a local mill that really needed the support of 4S, and it was a big deal to keep their business rolling good. So we decided to go that way. And then, of course, we got things now that come in from all over the country, whether it's things that might not grow here that we need seed from, or whatever's going on, freight lanes, shipping lanes, things like that. So yeah, we've got people.
So not only you have helped these manufacturers, distributors, all these kind of folks, you've helped them too.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's good. Let's move on to another subject. You have had the opportunity to meet and become very good friends with some country music stars. I think maybe particularly Jason Aldean.
Yeah, it's pile of guys. I mean, we got a lot of those guys buy from.
How did that happen? I know you didn't wake up one morning and say, I'm going to call Jason Aldean and see if he wants to buy something, because that wouldn't happen. You wouldn't get to him.
Yeah.
So how did that happen?
That was actually through his cousin, which he just actually stopped in the shop one day and started buying products, and then he knew that we were pushing hard, and doing the right thing and things like that, and it kind of went from there with dealing with Jason, knowing Jason. Of course, I've been to his place and done land evaluations and things like that, but then we've got a ton of those guys: Gary LeBops for Rascal Flats, Brantley Gilbert, Craig Morgan, Aaron Lewis. I mean, the list just goes on and on. Right. Yeah, and ball players and all kind of stuff like that that we've been, had fun dealing with, and it's been neat. And strangely enough, I don't think any of those guys came from each other. They all came from a different avenue. They might have came to us because they knew we could be trusted, because we're being trusted by one of their one of the guys they're used to working with, or that they know or something. But it wasn't because the introduction happened like that. That's kind of weird. You'd think it'd be one guy that started that ball rolling, but
I guess another thing is that famous people are very particular about who they associate with, because everybody wants to meet a country music star. Everybody wants to meet a movie star. So they want to maintain their private life. And, it's just so neat to me that here they come to Reynolds, Georgia, and, doing business, because, I know that. So Jason Aldean is a part of Buck Commander, right?
Yep.
That he's part of Buck Commander, and I think maybe you can name them: Luke Bryan.
Yeah, Luke Bryan, Willie Robertson, Jason, now Tyler Farr, Adam LaRoche, Tombo Martin, and Ryan Lingerhans.
And Tombo has been here several times.
Yeah, he's a good friend. I talked to him
good
this morning.
friend. Yeah. Talked to him this morning.
He stays here at the shop.
Right. So I think that is their way to get away.
Oh yeah.
And they have a huge farm, no telling how many thousands of acres, that they go to get away to be themselves. And Forrest has, been a part of that, where they can see the results of good farm management and good stewardship. And that applies to them. It applies to people local here in Taylor County. But so I just think stewardship is a very important thing. God, when, God created the heavens and the earth, he gave man the dominion over wildlife, over the birds and the beast in the field. And, I see so much abuse today. I see so many people abusing what God gave us. And I just believe stewardship is so important. And I see that as a big part of your business. Education.
In that too. We see so many guys that hadn't been schooled on exactly how to do things, and they're either wasting time or wasting money. And we're really able to help with that, but it's all effort to do the right thing. So
right. Bruce, you've also been here. We have a world-class golf course, and it's called the Fall Line Club out on Henry Carrington Road, and you become a part of that. How did that take place? What do you do there, and how do you help them?
I'm over getting the hunting land ready. I have a 5-year contract. We've got a couple of guys working out there. The two guys that hired me to to contract, get that together, they told me pretty much when they came here to this office that they had already done all the research on me, because they research people before they hire them, and you don't know that they're researching you.
Right.
So they already knew that they wanted me to do that. So it kind of went from there, which made sense. I mean, some of those like celebrity guys I mentioned, a lot of those guys, I've either been invited or have been to their place to do land evaluations, to tell them what to do on their place. And I feel like the FL guys knew that I knew how to have guys around that know how to act around higher earning people and things like that, and
proper etiquette.
Yeah. And what's expected, things like that. So I think that, and the knowledge of doing this for years and being successful at it. Right. That's a neat deal out there.
That's good for Taylor County.
Absolutely.
And it's so good for Taylor County. Some people who don't know any better want to chunk rocks at the golf course, but it is going to tremendously make our tax base better. Yeah. That's what we need in Taylor County is tax base, and people don't understand that, and they're good stewards.
Yeah, definitely.
Yeah, they're good stewards. And why did they come? They came because of our sand and our water.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons that our podcast is Sand Country Legends, because sand built Atlanta, and Taylor County Sand and Crawford County Sand built Atlanta. There's probably 100 trucks round the clock going from Butler and over Atlanta Sand in Crawford County to Atlanta. That's, and our water's the best in the world.
Yeah,
we get water right out of the aquifer.
Those guys are doing a great job out there with everything like that. I've been involved in a lot of stuff out there, even outside of my things that I'm supposed to be managing, and there's never a shortcut.
Yeah,
not with anything I've dealt with. It's always making sure that what we're doing is the right way to do it, not just to benefit those guys, but to benefit or not hurt, the county or anything.
That's right.
Like that.
And they're not. And I just want everybody to hopefully understand that. But it's rewarding, I know, for you. I know you. I know what you stand for. I know who you are. I know your success, your drive, determination. But isn't it rewarding to be associated with such a quality group like those people? There are 5 people that are, I don't really know their names, and they want to remain anonymous, and I understand that, and I don't even know who they are, but I do know that from what I understand, they love Taylor County.
It's neat to be involved in it, and proud to be considered and then to be involved with it.
That's right. Well, Bruce, I can't, I follow you, follow 4S, and every day something comes up on my feed, my Instagram feed or Facebook feed. But my goodness, Bruce, you are now associated with Realtree, and I don't know if you call that the pinnacle of success, but when you talk about Realtree, they're right there. I can't think of any organization that is better than Realtree. Yeah. And that's Bill Jordan and his son Tyler.
Yeah, we'll be there tomorrow actually at their studio.
But anyway, how did that take place? Did they come to you? Did you go to them? Or how did that take place?
We all know so many of the same people, and them being
traveling in the same circles.
Yeah, and those guys being an hour and 15 minutes from here, we've like I said, know a lot of the same people, but Dan actually, that's the general manager here.
Dan Hudson.
Yeah, at
Right.
4S. He was getting the boat tuned up, and he went over to one of the Realtree Road Trips guys up that way, and they just got to talking. And of course, the Realtree guys had been coming here and getting some products over time, kind of behind closed doors, and stuff like that. And then they kind of hit him up about, it was a good time to get up with those guys, where they at, what's going with everything with Realtree Farms and Realtree in general. And it just went from there. And they've been here for a few meetings, and we'll be there tomorrow actually filming with Bill and Tyler at their place. But yeah, it's been neat. I mean, we're just too close together, and they got too much going on. I mean, I think tomorrow some of the filming we're going to do, one thing is, I think Realtree got started with a need to have a better camouflage. It's not just Army fatigues.
Right.
And so they started, and that's where we started. I thought there was a better way to do some of this stuff, and it's neat to be able to come together and be Georgia boys, Georgia companies. And
that's right. And don't they have their own product, or no?
Of
deer feed, or
no.
They don't?
No,
they
don't.
Never have been in that line of business.
No, they hadn't. We're seriously talking about doing some stuff with them in the future, products together. Joint products.
Right.
We're probably going to work on some stuff like that in the next couple of years, but all that takes a lot of time. But
right.
But I think that's one thing we're going to do. But it's been fun. We do some hunting up at their place and just all kind of stuff. Neat.
Do you ever wish you could make 5 of you to go in different directions?
Oh man,
different
yeah, it'd be great.
Yeah, that's right. Bruce, I think before when we talked, I mean, you value your family, and you value family time.
Yeah.
And
over everything.
You see, over everything, right? And you have figured out a way to keep all that intact, and I think that's so neat, because it's just never good when you maybe abandon your family or put work or whatever, it doesn't matter, over your family, and that's part of your success. I just know it is.
Yeah.
That is part of your success.
So. Yeah, it'd be hard to go to work every day or do anything every day and feel good about it if you.
That's right.
If you hadn't got that taken care of first.
That's right. Absolutely.
Family, and
So Bruce, what's next?
I don't know, man. There's been so many cool things that have happened, with business, that, like the girls say, like Carly says all the time, like, look, you got to tell me all that again. Like, I can't keep up with everything cool that happens all the time. And it's just not even, it's almost become, par for the course, which has been neat. We're definitely not taking it for granted, and definitely appreciate all of it. But it is just wild. So we're just not even shocked when something just amazing happens right now.
How do you sleep at night with all that rattling around in your head?
That is a challenge.
Yeah.
It is a big deal. I have to work at that pretty hard.
Right.
It's easy to keep it going, but I've learned how to shut it down.
So do you have a lot of people coming to you? Well, Bruce, you ought to do this, or Bruce, you ought to do that, or
daily.
do every daily?
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And sometimes I guess they got good ideas, sometimes they don't.
Yeah, and then we have to look at stuff. The analogy, like if you've got a pasture that's got enough grass for 100 cows, but you put 101 in it, it's not the one that starves, it's all of them.
That's right.
So we have to be careful not to overload the plate.
That's great wisdom. I never thought about it that way.
Yeah, I don't want to lose focus on. I don't want to have a bunch of things going on that are moderately okay.
That's right.
When we can have everything being a rock star, so we're trying to stay with that. Although we do see a need to put out new stuff sometimes and try to fix some problems.
I think the way I understand that, Bruce, is figure out what you do well and do it, and don't try to do everything.
Stay in your lane.
Stay in your lane, and I'm involved in First Baptist Church. I know you and Shannon and the girls attended there at one point in the past, but church can get bogged down in trying to do everything for everybody.
Yeah.
And you can't do that. You got to figure out what you need to do and do it well, and leave some of that other stuff alone. So
if you can't do it good, somebody else can.
That's right.
Let them do it.
That's right. Absolutely.
I agree.
And Bruce, I just, we've talked about this before, maybe in the past, but I just see God working in your life. I know that you're tremendously blessed, and that just has to come first. And I know you understand that.
Yeah.
And I understand, and understand where your success and your wisdom and comes from. It's hard for a man or woman to be as successful as you are and as you have been without some stability in your life.
Yeah.
And I think that stability comes from God.
Oh,
You know?
I mean, there's a clear hand of God in everything that's happened.
Yes.
Yep.
And that's good.
Yeah, it has been.
It's been very good. And Bruce, I guess anything else?
No, I don't have anything.
Yeah, I think that's it. And once again, I appreciate you so much for doing this. And
Yeah, thank you.
I just wanted people to know, I don't know how far my podcast is going to go or how successful it is, but everybody knows 4S, but I wanted people to know Bruce.
Yeah, thank you.
And, you know, your life, your early life, and your family, and you know, you have a great family, and that's so good. So I appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
All
Thank you.
right.